Okay, we are live. This is going to be a new concept for me. Um, I want to update you and detail you on my Saturday trip to the mall. If anybody has any idea um, or any inclination um, of where you can find the fall of or the decaying of America, it is definitely at the mall, right? Definitely at your local mall. So I'm gonna go through my trip today. I don't know. I'm using this video as an example. I'm just using the video. I decided, I don't know why, to make the mistake of going to the mall on a Saturday. I don't know why I decided to make this mistake. It's the first time I've been out to the mall since the pandemic on the weekend. Usually I'll go to the mall during the week, but this is the first time I've ever done it during the weekend. Um, so, of course, the drive there was uh, interesting. So, pull up to the mall, and the first thing about these stupid malls is these ridiculous parking lots. Sometimes these stupid parking lots are bigger than the actual mall itself. And the parking lots are actually classist to a certain extent because the nicer cars in the front and the all the ridiculous cars are in the back. It kind of reminds me, a mall parking lot kind of reminds me of the Titanic, with all the people in third class and then you have all the people in first class. Um, yeah, so that was a very interesting thing. So I had to, then the way people drive, like the driving just to get in is so ridiculous because they always got those four and fifth levels, and then people are always hunched over and they drive weird when they're in the parking lot. It's almost like you're driving bumper cars or you're at one of those little stupid race things where people are driving around and around the track. So I finally get a spot. I parked somewhere, and it was outside of Macy's. There's always some big stupid Macy's, a Dillard's, a Nordstrom's, and these are always the edges of the mall. They're like the anchors to the rest of the store because they're always the biggest ones there. So I decided to park on the edge of Macy's, and the reason why I even went to the mall in the first place is I wanted to get the polo bear sweater with the turtleneck, right? Because Polo has a bear one with the turtleneck now, right? So they used to have Polo had the some people wear the bear sweater with the crew neck, but they had the turtleneck one. And so I decided to go into Macy's because sometimes Macy's carries Polo, right? And then there was a Dillard's in there, and you can go into Dillard's too. So first thing I notice when I walk into Macy's is just the employees who work there, right? Uh, it was very interesting. So I got help by some woman who looked like she was probably some retired CP&A, one of those Nissan Maxima driving chicks, right? She had like a tattoo on her neck, but they didn't have the sweater there. So then I had to go somewhere else. Um, it she was working behind the register. I had to go somewhere else. So I walked out from there, and then I walked into like the main. You know how there's those like lobby ways when you exit the department store, and then there's those main lobby ways. And dude, the crowd was absolutely ridiculous. People of all walks of life. It honestly made my stomach hurt. And one of the first things I noticed was being from Kansas City, how many people from St. Louis were there, right? That is always an uneasy feeling for me. The fact when you have people from St. Louis, I would suggest you to run as fast as you can. There's no level of ghetto I've seen that can compare to that. And a lot of them are capable of almost anything. So it didn't, as a Kansas City resident, it didn't uh, make me feel good seeing a bunch of people from St. Louis in our mall today. I mean, I thought a shooting could break out at any time, allegedly, quote unquote. Right? Don't penalize me for that. Um, so I walked from Macy's, and then one of the things I hate is I hate walking behind slow people. Okay, because it seems like the stupidest people get together to come to the mall, right? Um, you know, I'm walking behind these stupid people, and they're just so slow. And you got to see people walking around you, dummy. You got to know that you're walking slow. I wish at the mall they would hand out like those foam bats. So if somebody's walking too slow, you can bink them in the head, right? Um, or like there's got to be like some notification of somebody that's just walking too slow. So, and then you just see these crazy people, right? So, one of the things you first see is a lot of kids in the mall, right? Like immigrant kids. Almost looks like our southern border walking through the mall. Um, but yeah, man, like you see kids and sometimes they fall. And then when a kid falls, it gets everybody's attention. You know what I mean? Somebody falling or whatnot. Everybody has to, pay attention to that. Um, so yeah, from there I'm walking through the hall, having to get behind a bunch of slow people who are just annoying. And then I walk into Saks Fifth Avenue. And the first thing I notice when I go to Saks Fifth Avenue, um, yeah. So I go to the men's shoe section of Saks Fifth Avenue. And you come into Saks Fifth Avenue and you got all these ladies, they're perfume ladies, and they're very nice, distinguished, older looking women. But then I go to the Saks Fifth Avenue where all the designer shoes are, and I'm seeing like younger women in tight pants and high crop black uh tube tops or whatever they call them, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right? So um it's crazy to me because like first thing I saw was like a goofy white woman with some panda dunks on, and the filling in her top lip, all these some of these goofy um younger women today with these shoes. They all look the same, right? So I saw this goofy white woman with a her top lip injected, right? And she had on a pair of panda dunks. So I told her, I'm like, nice shoes. I've never seen them before, right? So as soon as I said nice shoes, she kind of ignored me. But then when I said I'd never seen them before, she knew I was being sarcastic, right? And it got laughs from her coworkers. But walking around the designer shoe section of Saks did not make me feel comfortable at all. It looks like to me they hired a bunch of like a bunch of moonlighting bottle girls, right? You go to Saks Fifth Avenue now in the shoe section, and it's all these women in tight clothes, like they're working at the club. Like every time they're going to bring you out a shoe, that they're going to have sparklers in the air waving it around and whistles blowing. So what happened to the people who used to work in shoes at Saks Fifth? What happened to the older retired ladies or the people who were more distinguished? Now we got a bunch of retired bottle girl TikTok thoughts working in Saks Fifth Avenue shoe section. What the hell is up with that? So I walked around the corner and went to the perfume section or the cologne section, perfume section. And I I had the chance to talk with a lady. She was showing me some different perfume. I was it's funny because the perfume she was showing me was Mason or whatever, and I like gentle fluidity. And she was like, "Oh, like Mason their entire life." I forgot how you pronounce the last name, but I'm like, "Oh yeah, you mean the people that make baccarat?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, that smell is so common." I told her homeless people wear it now. You can walk around homeless people and they have baccarat on, right? That's how common that smell and that perfume or cologne is. It's like Dior Sauvage. If I smell Dior Sauvage on somebody one more time, I'm probably gonna vomit until my eyes pop out of my sockets, right? Those have to be the two most played out colognes ever. Baccarat and Dior Sauvage. Like I said, even homeless people wear it now. It's so common, right? You can find it at in the bathrooms of every single nightclub. It those two colognes will probably replace Cool Water or Curve in the future with their commonality. So then I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I had the grandiose idea after that, like, hey, let's go to the Gucci store. Hey, you're in the mall. Let's go to the Gucci store. I'm going to say that one more time. Hey, you're in the mall. Let's go to the Gucci store. Gucci, I don't know what the hell is going on in your stores. Gucci stores today look like the projects. Literally. In the back row of the Gucci store, I can see 4 niggas shooting dice in the back room. Literally, you need to have a metal detector. Not only do you need a detector of what's going out of Gucci, you need a metal detector of who's going in Gucci. You literally need to stop and check for weapons. If you've been in the Gucci store, anybody, anytime recently has gone into the Gucci store, it literally looks like a housing project. It looks like a drive-by waiting to happen in there. So go to the Gucci store, and it's the characters that you see in the Gucci store. Like, I walked to the back room because Gucci had this Adidas collection, you know, and it's all gone or whatever. And I walk to the back, and the first thing I see is like niggas with the Roddy Rich haircut, with the dirty cotton ball haircut, right? With the temple taper on the side, right? The dirty cotton ball haircut, um, tapered off on the side, with the designer watch, and then there's like 20 of them, and they're all like trying on their outfits in the mirror with each other. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, is this what gangsters do these days? Do you niggas all just wake up in the morning time on your group chats and say, "Hey, let's go to the mall"? Like, how does this how do 20 how do 15, 20 ninjas, right, end up in the mall at Gucci all hanging out, mobbed out together? Did y'all really wake up in the morning time, all send text to each other and say, "Let's go to the mall and so we can compare our outfits to each other"? Crazy. Crazy. Like, that's one of the things that goes through my mind. But I had to get the Gucci. Like, I walked out the Gucci store and the guy's like, "Did you find anything?" I'm like, "No, it's pretty scary in the back." So, let's see. I walked past the Apple store. One of the things I don't like about the mall also on the weekends is it looks like Six Flags. There's lines everywhere to everything. Like the pretzel. Every time I go to the mall, I want a pretzel, bro. Every single time. The line was around the corner for the pretzel place. And it's gotten packed out. Just completely packed out. So I walked past the Apple store, and I seen this girl with which what I thought was her boyfriend, but of course, it was a girlfriend. And she looked like a fat mall cop. And so I thought she was a fat mall cop, but then it ended up being a woman. But I think she still was a fat mall cop. Um, but I asked her for directions or whatever uh, I went to like the other side of the mall because there was a skater shop in there. Because one of the things I was looking for was I was looking for more of the wide leg cargo, since I wasn't able to find the polo bear sweater, right? At all. Wasn't able to find the polo bear sweater. But I wanted to get some like the baggy cargos, but I kept noticing, like, I don't understand all these stupid stores who are carrying straight leg pants or tapered pants. Like, dude, like, it's not 2018. That's done. The baggier cargos is what I was looking for. Ended up actually finding a place, going to one place, and it was Nike. Now, Nike was so booked out, and I wear a lot of Nike stuff. I actually have on a Nike tracksuit right now, so these people thought I worked there. But went into Nike, and oh, there was this goofy white girl there. She was like trying on a pair of shoes with her mom, and surprisingly, they weren't the low top Air Force Ones. Surprisingly, seeing white women wear shoes other than Air Force Ones and the Panda Dunks is just really interesting. Um, so she was in line, and then I was behind them or whatever. So I ended up getting the cargos, but I the oh my god, the line was so long to the fitting room. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I put them back on the shelf and said, "Hey, I'll have to come back in. I have to come back in during the week because I just can't do this at all." Um, so I got hungry, but my stomach started to hurt. Right, um, and that's because I drank I drank a caramel frappuccino before coming on an empty stomach, and those things really make me have to take a crap. And so I was walking around. I decided to go to the food court. Do you ever have the feeling in your stomach sometimes where it's like a battle between, you know, the feeling that you have to take a crap comes on and then it like goes away. It like teases you, but you know it's like always there. It's kind of like it's kind of like cancer, right? Like cancer can be in remission. It's like sometimes you have to take these shits and like they go into remission and then they just pop on you out of nowhere, right? So it'll let you know and it'll go away for a couple hours. And then after that, it'll, that'll come back. So uh, I had to take a crap, but I wasn't going to do it in the mall, to be honest with you, right? Um, so I go to the food court, and the best thing about the food court, right? It's always the the Mexican people working at the Asian restaurant passing out the bourbon chicken, right? It's good to see the fusion of different cultures come together for something productive and unhealthy like mall food. So I literally go to I end up getting the bourbon chicken just because they handed out the samples. I mean, the samples are somewhat of a classic if you ask me. Um, Ended up getting it with red beans and rice or something like that. So I sit down, and I one of the things I really can't stand is food court, um, like the food court tables. You know why? Because number one, like as a grown ass man, like I haven't had to walk into a cafeteria with a tray. You always feel like the first kid. You feel like your first day in high school, right? When you go into these stupid malls with these big food courts and all these tables with all these random people, and like it feels like a first day of like I'm in the episode of Mean Girls or something like that. Then one of the things you'll notice, I tell you, you notice it all the time. It doesn't matter how packed the mall will be. There will always be somebody sitting at one table with a space at the next table. Doesn't matter how packed it is. You know why? Because even though all these people are all standing together, they still don't want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable by sitting next to them because their nervousness, I guess, takes over. So human beings, while all engaging in things on top of each other, will have eventually find a way to separate themselves when it comes to sit down and eating, which is interesting enough. But one of the things I sat down and noticed was the stupid high school kids. You know how like the goofy high school kids will, they'll come to the mall with their friends and then they'll start throwing out all this profanity that they can't say at home. So what they'll do is it's like the high school kids, it's like the high school kids testing ground, right? They'll come there, they'll wear stuff that they're not supposed to be wearing because their parents would let them wear it. You can tell they changed it in the car. And then they'll just start cussing up a storm, right? It doesn't even sound right. Like these kids are cussing, and it's like, oh, okay, they're attempting, they're trying stuff that they wouldn't do around their parents. It's the testing ground for the future for some of these kids or whatnot. So finish eating, and man, I ended up going to a sneaker store, uh, and it's called JD Sports. And man, I actually found some low top Air Force Ones, not the TikTok goofy white women kind. Um, and I found some that were all white with the gum sole, with the gum sole. Like I haven't seen those forever. I know they're older shoes, but they had them. And it's funny because some of these kids are so hype beast or so about, what's going on in the moment. They don't recognize vintage because they didn't have any of the low top regular white Air Force Ones. Those were like on a delay, but they had tons of the ones with the gum sole. So I picked up a pair of the ones with the gum sole, my friend. Let me see if I got them. I think I got them right here. Hold on. Look at that gum soles. Look at that gum soles. Look at that gum bottoms, low top white Air Force Ones, gum bottoms. Haven't seen those in forever. So, Yeah. So then after that, I found actually a skate shop. Um, like a lot of younger kids that worked in a skate shop. I was actually able to get my cargos, but they weren't like the Nike cargos. They probably were a lot lower quality than the Nike cargos were. I mean, but I got like three pair for like 120 because they had a sale. So I'm fine with that. It was a win. It was just a win for me. It was a winning day with that and my gum bottoms. Now I didn't find my bear sweater, uh, so that was interesting. Um, yeah, that didn't find. One of the things I noticed, as cold as it is today, why do white women and all these other women, have you seen these women walking like in the store or in the mall with like big cargo crew necks on, but like it doesn't look like they have pants on? Did they just like give up on pants? I don't understand. I don't understand. Did white women just like stop wearing pants this year or something like that because of the big cargo sweaters and doesn't look like you guys have pants on? I don't know. I don't know. So with that, this is story time with your man Patriarchy Strikes Back. Make sure you guys hit that, hit the like and subscribe. Um, tweet, chop it up, screw and chop it. I'm gonna start doing story times, right? I'm gonna start giving you my opinions on the mall and just a day to day, just a day to day life. So, um, yeah. Oh, one of the other things I said before I go. So you got white women with these big stupid crew necks on that don't look like they have pants on. Then you got the BBL girls. What the hell is that all about? You got these women with these uh I don't know if they think it's like men. They're walking around with these gray sweatpants on and we can see all the dimples in your butt. It's like they're walking around with these great women with BBLs walking around with these thin gray sweatpants on, and your butt literally looks like a unkept highway with all the potholes in it. It's kind of weird. But another thing I noticed is like the couples. There's like these couples of like BBL girls. It's like the BBL girls are always with some like smoked out nigga with like a bunch of black stuff on his lip, like just a smoked out scammer type guy that doesn't look like he cleans his fucking nails. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. So it's kind of weird. So this has been Patriarchy Strikes Back and my story time on my time at the mall today. I'm gonna go ahead and end this right now. And we are out of here.